sold separately from Hasbro.
And finally, new rule: if something about the human race is changing at a previously unprecedented rate, we have to at least discuss it. Broken down over time, the LGBT population of America seems to be roughly doubling every generation. According to a recent Gallup poll, less than 1% of Americans born before 1946, that's Joe Biden's generation, identify that way. 2.6% of boomers do, 4.2% of Gen X, 10.5% of millennials, and 20.8% of Gen Z. Which means if we follow this trajectory, we will all be gay in 2054. All the babies are in the wrong bodies? Was there a mix-up at the plant, like with Captain Crunch's Oops, All Berries? Adults asked a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They meant what profession? And it's okay to ask questions about something that's very new and involves children, because we're literally experimenting on children. Maybe that's why Sweden and Finland have stopped giving puberty blockers to kids. We do know it hinders the development of bone density, which is kind of important if you like having a skeleton. Fertility and the ability to have an orgasm seem also to be affected. This isn't just a lifestyle decision, it's medical. Compared to trans, gay is practically cis, and cis is practically Mormon. Yes, part of the rise in LGBT numbers is from people feeling free enough to tell it to a pollster, and that's all to the good. But some of it is, it's trendy. Penis equals man? Okay, boomer. If you haven't noticed that with kids, doing something for the likes is more important than their own genitals, you haven't been paying attention. Dr. Erica Anderson is a prominent 71-year-old clinical psychologist who is herself transgender and who now says, I think it's gone too far. The LA Times summarizes, she's come to believe that some children identifying as trans are falling under the influence of their peers and social media. If you attend a small dinner party of typically very liberal, upper-income Angelenos, it is not uncommon to hear parents who each have a trans kid having a conversation about that. What are the odds of that happening in Youngstown, Ohio? If this spike in trans children is all natural, why is it regional? Either Ohio is shaming them or California is creating them. We can't admit that in certain enclaves there is some level of trendiness to the idea of being anything other than straight, then this is not a serious science-based discussion. It's a blow being struck in the culture wars using children as cannon fodder. I don't understand parents who won't let their 9-year-old walk to the corner without a helmet, an EpiPen, and a GPS tracker. Hormone blockers and genital surgery? Fine. I guess penises are gross now, but one might come in handy later on. Maybe childhood makes you sad sometimes, and there are other solutions besides hand me the dick saw. But kids do also have phases. They're kids, it's all phases. The dinosaur phase, the Hello Kitty phase. One day they want to be an astronaut, the next day you can't get them to leave their room. Gender fluid, kids are fluid about everything. If kids knew what they wanted to be at age 8, the world would be filled with cowboys and princesses. I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God nobody took me seriously and scheduled me for eye removal and peg leg surgery.
And meanwhile, a new survey out shows that more young people are likely to identify as being part of the LGBTQ community than millennials are. Baby boomers or seniors over 70.
More people than ever before identify as being somewhere on the LGBT spectrum. He is a part of a generation that is more likely than any other to self-identify as being LGBT.
I think a lot of that has to do with education.
According to a new Gallup survey, 5.6% of American adults now identify as LGBT. That's up from 4.5% back in 2017. One of the reasons why we're seeing more people identify as being on the spectrum is because younger generations are more likely than older generations to identify as being something other than heterosexual. You can see here, out of all of the generations since 1946, adults who are part of Generation Z, born between 1997 and 2002, make up the largest share of those who identify as LGBT.
Force folks not to feel comfortable, not to take on certain labels, and to be forced into essentially the closet.